Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Well, now we finally come to the last point dealing with we call the faith interest, 6 areas interest. That is what? That is wisdom. Our wisdom. The wisdom. This term seems a very beautiful one. Everybody wants to have wisdom. But what's the difference between wisdom and intelligence? Obviously, there are some difference. Right? Otherwise, they won't be 2 different words describing a person. If you say a person is intelligent, then which means he's good at some technique, meaning thinking technique, for example, logic, reasoning, calculation, etc. But when you talk about somebody who has wisdom, it means that basing on the knowledge, basing on the intelligence, then you can elevate into some more high level of visions, just like some kind of philosophy, something like that. So wisdom is different. Wisdom is something which a person need to cultivate for a long time, and after cultivation, then we lead further to apprehend something which we have learned from. So wisdom is a very high level and important virtue of person, and those who hold wisdom, they can fly through their life with less effort. Effort means your daily life. You put less effort, but you have greater reward. Reason, because you don't engage in some specific area with overdose, and then you can balance your life, and you can make improvement in your physiological condition. You can improve your psychological condition, and finally you can make an enhancement of your spiritual condition. Spiritual condition is so with this physiological, psychological, and spiritual, then with all this balance and enhancement, then you will be a person of great wisdom. So when we think about wisdom, we want to know somebody who is having wisdom a lot. Then what is the technique for it? What is the technique for it? In our faith counseling, there's a book written called the 紫微斗数. It's a kind of called the numerology. In numerology, there's a kind of places putting in all the stars. So we call them what? We call them the palace. We call them the palace. There are 12 palaces in numerology, and you can refer to my picture showing you in the previous section. There's a 12 palace right there, and you have some stars stationing there. And there's 2 palace which we always emphasize to be important. First is the faith palace. In the faith palace, you want to make sure that there's a good staff staying there. Otherwise, your achievement will be discounted in all other palaces. Secondly, there is a palace of wisdom right there. Palace of wisdom. In Chinese, they call it the Fu De Gong. Fu De, wisdom palace. In the wisdom palace, you look at the stars, and you can see the star is good, and you can start. They have a good trend, they have a good strength, and they stay in the wisdom palace. Then it means that person, he is or she is having good wisdom right there, right there. So in 紫微斗数, in this technique, you have the basic life, you have the 10 years faith cycle, and you have the current year's day cycle. So in these three areas, you look at the wisdom palace and make an analysis on them, and you can make a judgment on that person, saying whether that person is having wisdom or not, or when will be having wisdom, and the degree of the wisdom right there. So it is an introduction to you how to approach the issue of wisdom for persons. So we finish and round up our 6 areas of interest right here. So thank you very much. See you next time with other topics. Bye bye.